It's not easy to admit, but I have been struggling with the idea of letting go. It's something that I've always wrestled with. And if I'm honest, it's something I saw my dad struggle with too. My dad passed away in October of 2022 after battling prostate cancer. He wanted to stay at home until the end, and he did. He passed away in his own bed, on his own terms, the way he wanted. But before he passed, and also some time afterward, I had this overwhelming task of sorting through his stuff, his things. He lived on a big property, almost like mine, with lots of space, and if you give somebody 40 years and plenty of room, they will fill it. And my dad was great at collecting things: tools, bolts, tractor parts, buckets of screws. He had this skill for seeing the potential in everything, but not the skill for letting go of what he no longer needed. You have to understand, he came from a world of scarcity. So one of the things that he had was an old workbench. It wasn't fancy. I'm sure he picked it up for free somewhere. It was old, soaked with oil and chemicals, and covered with nails and bits of metal that was hammered into it over decades. I've seen this workbench many times in my dad's barn, beside the tractor that he was currently working on, because he was always working on a tractor. My dad was restoring mostly Massey Ferguson 35 tractors that was built in the 1950s. That was his area. I've had this workbench in my shop for a couple of years now, and every time I looked at it, I saw my dad. I remembered him standing in his own barn, covered in grease, tinkering with tractor parts. The smell of oil and metal that seemed to follow him everywhere, that was soaked into that bench. But here's the truth. I couldn't use it for many reasons. First and foremost, it was too damaged to restore and too far gone to save. And still, I couldn't let it go. So I had this thought for some time. Perhaps it wasn't just my dad's workbench I could not let go of. This was about something deeper. About how I cling to things, even when they no longer serve me. I think about my dad and how much he struggled to let go. Even when he knew his time was running out, he kept holding on to all his stuff. Maybe it was his way of holding on to life itself. But in doing so, he left a huge burden for me and my sisters. And now I can see myself doing that very same thing. I'm 53 and I collect wood and tools and scraps like there is no tomorrow. I'm ready to go into 5 years of lockdown. Things I tell myself I'll use someday, I keep. But will I use it? Or am I just creating another mountain of stuff for somebody else to deal with? This is where my daughter has been such an inspiration. She's training as a Buddhist, and she's always talking about how nothing lasts forever, and how clinging to things, to people, and even to maybe our own identity only makes us suffer. She reminds me that letting go doesn't mean that you don't care. It means you understand that nothing can stay the same forever. And that is really not a bad thing. It's just life. There's a story that I read once, or maybe a speech I heard, about a girl who was so afraid of losing her pet bunny that she hugged it too tight. and by doing so, she killed it. And that's what holding on too tightly does. No matter if it's to people or possessions or even memories, we risk suffocating the very thing that we are trying to hold on to and to keep. Letting go is hard, but it is also freeing. Today, I burned that old workbench. I had to. It was like a ritual for me. It felt like letting go of more than just wood and some metal scraps. It felt like letting go of the weight of holding on to something that was really never mine to keep. I thought about my dad. I thought about how much that I miss him, how much I learned from him, not just about tractors or tools, but about life. His inability to let go taught me something important. The things we hold on to too tightly can become burdens for others. They most likely will. And I don't want to repeat that mistake. There's a beautiful lesson in learning to hold things lightly. It doesn't mean that you don't value them. It means that you appreciate them for what they are, without trying to make them last forever. Like my dad's workbench. It served him well, and for some time it served me too. But now its time is over, and it is okay. I want to give myself some advice. Don't wait too long to let go. Appreciate your tools, the wood, the memories, but don't let them become a weight that you must carry forever. Burning the workbench wasn't just about cleaning space in my shop. It was about cleaning a space in my life, and in some way also letting go of my dad. Because at the end of the day, or at the end of a year, or at the end of your lifespan, letting go is about making room for new projects, new lessons, a new and bigger barn to have stuff in, and maybe even room for some peace. So sometimes letting go is the most loving thing that you can do.